Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 106 of the Backlot 605 podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Casey Kelderman.
I'm Brian Mensing.
And Brian, today we are in week 3 of Kurt Russell month. And man, we have a doozy to talk about this week. We are talking Death Proof, one half of Tarantino's, Quentin Tarantino's and Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse. And to do that, we're going to be joined by fellow South Dakota movie nerd. He is the host, the man behind Tubes World, Tony Tubes. Tony, man, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. I remember when we first started, I think I found Silver Screen Showdown that you do on Tubes World pretty much right when we started this. I'm like, after that, I'm like, man, we got to find a time to get Tony on, and I just never did it until now. And then Kurt Russell came up, and I'm like, Kurt Russell's the man to bring us together, I think.
Sure.
It only took us 2 years to do it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it took Kurt Russell to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Do you guys know Walt Disney's last words?
Let's hear
No, enlighten me.
He couldn't speak, so he wrote down on a piece of paper, Kurt Russell. That was Walt Disney's last words. So yes.
I mean, he is a Disney kid, so
he is a Disney kid. That's true. Man, I think that should be everybody's last words. Is just Kurt Russell. No context behind it at all. Just Kurt Russell.
That's right.
Yeah. Kurt Russell will be like the aloha for Hawaii, where it's hello, it's goodbye, it's 17 different things. You just say Kurt Russell and move on.
And Kurt Russell to you,
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is how Americans should greet each other from now on.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
And a Kurt Russell to you.
I like it. Man, I'm glad to have you on, Tony. This is going to be a good show. I'm super excited to talk about Death Proof, and I'm stoked to hear your guys' opinions, because I have my opinions on this one, and I'm scared to share them. I don't know how it's going to go out.
Wow, this is already making me feel nervous, just the way the tone in your voice.
Brian, you should be afraid. Be very afraid.
I am going to be afraid. I'm going to be very, very afraid. Now, my question real quick to you here. When you watched Death Proof here, did you watch it in its true form and watch it as Grindhouse, or did you watch just Death Proof?
No, I did the whole Grindhouse experience. Did both movies together with the trailers. So
good.
Coming in fresh to all those. I had only ever seen the trailers before that, so went in fresh for this one. So, but before
I saw it in the theater, but I saw it on DVD, and then I actually watched, and I actually watched them. But the only thing on these DVDs that has those weird trailers is Planet Terror, and it just has Machete.
Yeah, so those came out first. And then afterwards, they were released a double disc where it's the movies on one, the features on the other, and it's the theatrical feature of the beginning, the Planet Terror trailers, Death Proof, all of that in one great big. So yeah, I had those, not realizing they were slightly different, and sold those so I can go get the regular version.
That's a problem for Google and stuff. And Amazon. I gotta go get some.
All right, but before we get into Death Proof, we'll do that in the second half. Let's jump into the box office for this week, because this is an interesting look at the box office for this weekend. Coming in at number 1 this week is the Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton, Freaky, $3.71 million, number 1 at the box office. A pretty highly anticipated horror movie coming out. I think this is going to be one of the last big releases we get for the year, topping the box office. I did not have a chance to watch it yet. I was unfortunately quarantined this last week or so I was not able to go out to the theaters. But what about you guys? Was this something you guys checked out? Are you shocked by these numbers at all?
I'll let him go first.
Oh, the only thing that I knew of this was, gosh, it was like Pluto TV I was watching, and I was like, watching Mystery Science Theater 3000, that channel or something like that, and every single commercial break there was a commercial for this movie, and what it's like Vince Vaughn and some teenager, and he's a serial killer, and then they switch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have not seen it. I'm thinking I'm going to wait for the book.
The novelization of Freaky.
All right. So this is what I'll say. I did go see it on Thursday. I saw it on Thursday the 12th. And, the thought has come up, originally as to why exactly do we release a movie mid-November when it's primed for the Halloween type of time frame and whatnot. The movie actually does give light to the fact that it takes place on Friday the 13th. So why not better than release it on Friday the 13th? For the sake of a body swap film, it's been done and done before. This is Christopher Landon, guy behind Happy Death Day, getting a full rated R film. It's just, for me, it's just as fun as what the Happy Death Day movies were. But being able to up the gore, Vince Vaughn is great. Catherine Newton holds her own against somebody as seasoned in the business as him. He's able to pull off the scary when he needs to be scary, but then he's straight up Vince Vaughn into the aspect of, I want to see Vince Vaughn and Jack Black do like a White Chicks Part 2 kind of thing, where them doing like the female teenager is absolutely hilarious.
You're not going to throw Rob Schneider into that mix? Come on, Brian.
Rob Schneider is not at the caliber. I'm sorry. And this is somebody who used to own the hot chick. No,
the hot chick is a guilty pleasure for sure. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever saw that one. I think I stopped at Deuce Bigelow 2 or something.
Might not have been a bad place to stop, but that would have been what hot chick. That's Rachel McAdams is the female.
Fuck, I don't even know.
Yes, yeah. I'm like Anna Faris. No. That's is she in that?
House Bunny. The
House Bunny. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, hot chick is like Rachel McAdams before anybody really knew who Rachel McAdams was, kind of thing. But no, it's just like what Happy Death Day was to Groundhog Day type of film. This is a great horror comedy mashup of the body swap movie.
I saw the first Happy Death Day, and and also with like, I feel like such an old geezer right now. I really do. But I watched that, and I also watched the Into the Spider-Verse movie, and both the movies like I needed to take a Ritalin afterwards. I was just like, there was just so much. Like, I think kids they just know that kids like process like screens differently than we do, and they just like throw so much shit at them, and it just, I'm sorry, can I swear? I'm sorry, it happened. But,
we run by the Happy Death Day rule. We get one F-bomb per episode.
Okay.
But shit is fine.
But I just like, they're so fast paced and stuff for me. It's like, whoa. Yeah. I have to like pause and like take a breather for a minute. But I would check it out. Like, honestly, if I saw it there, I'd probably check it out if it was on Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finally, once I can go out to the theaters again, checking this one out. But number 2 this week, Let Him Go, Kevin Costner, sticking around here at $1.8 million. Still kicking in that top 2, Mr. Costner. We're seeing the running joke of the last couple of weeks is grandpas rule the box office. Costner is the grandpa at the top this week again.
Yeah. Well, so what's that make Diane Lane then?
She's easily the grandma of the box office. I mean, come on. There's no other competition.
The guild office. That's the thing. Can I still say that?
I think it's still allowed. I don't know. But maybe we could ask another grandpa that's in the top 5. We could ask Mr. Robert De Niro, who is the star of The War with Grandpa, $1.32 million. This family movie still sticking around again. Of course, not a whole lot out, especially for family fare. This is probably the go-to movie if you're taking the kids out to the theater until The Croods, I suppose, is coming out here in the next couple weeks. So, yeah, The War with Grandpa.
The one animated film right now where people are like, oh, we're not worried about if we put that one in the theater or not. Not everybody's going to go to that one.
Get that money, Robbie. Get that money.
Get it. Number 4, dropping a little bit from last week, is Come Play, $1.1 million. Again, same audience as Freaky, so definitely could see that dropping here a little more in the next couple weeks. But Come Play, still sticking in that top 5. And then let's jump to number 5, Honest Thief. Again, a little over $800,000 this week at the box office. Liam Neeson, he's sticking around, guys. He's sticking around just for a little while longer. But
and holy crap, that's a lot of old men.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're kidding.
Yeah, exactly. So
somewhere he's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
You figure at this point right now, does Vince Vaughn have that like part in his heart right now where he's like, I feel like I just beat up my grandpa by knocking every grandpa out of number 1.
He's the young man in this game. I mean, come on.
Like the sexiest one out of all of these dudes.
Yeah, but Honest Thief, it does take the 5 spot. Tenet falls out of the 5 spot for the first time since its initial release. So dropping out of the top 5 and heading towards home video here in the next week or two.
And that was what, May when that came out?
No. End of August.
End of August. Wow, my brain is that much mush right now.
Still, that's a long run in the box office there.
Mm-hmm.
Over 2 months in the top 5.
Go old men at the box office.
Go old men. But yeah, again, Freaky, number 1, Let Him Go, number 2, number 3, The War with Grandpa, number 4, Come Play, and number 5, Liam Neeson's Honest Thief.
Honestly, sent me the list of all that stuff. I didn't even know the theaters were even open right now. I have no idea. Everything looks like it's coming out on streaming services and stuff. So it's like,
right.
That because the movie theaters here aren't open, I don't think. So yeah.
This is the first thing I had seen in the theater since I saw Tenet. And then other than that, it was Bill and Ted and New Mutants. Those have been my new releases since COVID started.
Right on.
Yeah. It's really bad when you can name all your new releases and you go in the theater in one hand.
I was going to say, I think my entire year is on one hand for new releases in theaters.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Let's move on to the news, though. We got some fun news stories to talk about.
Moving on to the news. Yes. So the first thing that we have at this point right now is, as it has been talked about, that Johnny Depp is leaving the Fantastic Beasts series. It sounds like Mads Mikkelsen is in talks to replace him as Grindelwald for the bad guy, the adversary against Eddie Redmayne and Jude Law. As weird and quirky as Johnny Depp is, I love Mads Mikkelsen, but these are two totally different guys, and I'm trying to picture Mads becoming the same thing-ish what that Johnny Depp was. So I'm all for Mads Mikkelsen joining this franchise, but I don't know how this is going to be an easy replacement.
From what I understand, and I know nothing because I've only ever seen the first Harry Potter movie and I have not watched any others. But from what I understand, Colin Farrell played the first version of Grindelwald that Johnny Depp then took over. And now Mads Mikkelsen is taking over for this. I think it's the last one in this series. So he apparently has this. He can like change his look. So at least it makes sense within the character. As long as that's kind of how they're playing it off, that's probably the only thing I could think of is that was for the sake of the first film, that was the reveal, if you will, that Colin Farrell really wasn't Colin Farrell, that it was Johnny Depp. So maybe that is the way they go with it. Yeah. My only opinion is this is a good move by Warner Brothers. That's it. Just separate Johnny Depp from the project. It's not a good but if you're separating Johnny Depp from Fantastic Beasts, separates Amber Heard from Aquaman 2. Yeah. Tit for tat. Do the same thing. Recast her, put Mads Mikkelsen as Mara in there. That's fine with me. I'm all for Mads Mikkelsen and Jason Momoa hooking up. That's cool with me. So let's do it.
Like, I wasn't a really big fan of whatever the actor was that that replaced the head dude of Hogwarts. What the hell's his name?
Oh, Michael Gambon
What?
for Dumbledore, the guy that replaced for Dumbledore.
Okay, yeah, sure, that could be his name.
Well, yeah, his name is Michael Gambon is the one that replaced when the first one passed away.
See, he was the first one. He was such a calming figure, and then the next one he was just such a I don't know. He just looked like he was just hyper tense and shit like that all the time. So it was just that was kind of weird. But I think Mads Mikkelsen would. It's kind of like a Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus thing. You guys ever see that flick?
I tell anybody who ever having the opportunity to watch that film, which I've given that to Casey a couple of times because he's got a very big blind spot for Terry Gilliam films, period, in general.
Where is it? God damn. No. I got a 12 Monkeys tattoo.
Oh, there it is. I see it. There it is.
See, this guy knows what I'm talking about, Casey. You need to get the Imaginary, get that watched like yesterday.
Hey, a Terry Gilliam marathon is in the books for me at some point soon.
People who don't know, obviously, that was Heath Ledger's last film that he was in the middle of making, and then he died. And then they actually got. It's funny you guys say Colin Farrell, Johnny Depp, and Jude Law to play him while he's in the Imaginarium, which I thought was really cool. And so, yeah, I mean, I Mads Mikkelsen, he'll do a good job.
Yeah, so I think everybody's ready to take a drink. We're like, all right, we're done with this topic. Have you guys watched these movies, the Fantastic Beasts movies? I have not heard anything good.
Yes.
No, I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I haven't minded them. I haven't. Yeah. So
they haven't caught on like Harry Potter has.
Oh, well, that's just it.
Yeah.
I saw the first one. I don't know. I was at some place and they watched it, and so I watched it, and it was
Yeah.
Like seeing Dan Fogler. I like that he's still working. I really like that guy.
Dan Fogler's got the one biopic that I wish would have gotten made that he has a test screening for, in that Sam Kinison.
Really? That would be perfect.
Just go on to YouTube when you have a free minute. Dan Fogler, Sam Kinison, his entire thing is on there. It is the perfect casting.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna look that shit up tonight.
All right, so moving on, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has decided that he wants to reboot the Scorpion King, because why not? So yes, Dwayne Johnson, $7 Productions, to reboot the Scorpion King. So the one reason why I'm somewhat kind of okay with this is that his scorpion-ish Scorpion King from The Mummy was kind of horrendous looking, and it could probably go for a nice, good, once over. I saw I forget who the group is. It's like a 3 or 4 guys that do special effects for their jobs and whatnot, but they have this YouTube channel where they actually took this scene of when he, as the Scorpion King, is emerging for the very first time, and they completely redid it on their home equipment, and it looks like 10 times better than what we got in the theater. So if he's going to make this better than what we got before, I'm all hands in, just because it was early on in his career. He's just basically there trying to break into the scene and whatnot. The CGI there was terrible, and hopefully we'll get something better. And maybe we'll get Brendan Fraser to come back, since, he's getting his, hopefully second life with Doom Patrol.
No, I'm calling for a Tom Cruise return to the Mummy series with this one.
Screw you, man.
Because the Scorpion King definitely fits more in tone of, like, obviously the Brendan Fraser movies that it came from, but also the Tom Cruise ones, where I could see them maybe wanting to dip their toes in that. I don't know, but this news seems fun to me. I think it's a fun idea. This is kind of where The Rock definitely started getting his breakout in Hollywood. I think was Scorpion King his first role in a movie? I think so.
I think pretty dang close. That probably didn't involve a WWE logo on it.
No, he was never in a WWE movie though.
He was in an episode of Voyager. I'm pretty sure he was in an episode of Voyager.
That could be. But the Scorpion King series has like 6 or 7 movies or something like that. It's so many sequels that no one's ever heard of. Like Lou Ferrigno is in the last couple, and it's all the straight to DVD guys you would expect have been in the Scorpion King sequels.
That's hilarious.
So I'm glad Dwayne Johnson's $7 Productions is like, all right, I'm taking this back. I'm The Rock. I'm attached to every movie coming out. Why not try to redo the Scorpion King again?
Sure.
Yeah. He was the champion as The Rock in Voyager 2000.
Yep.
He was on an episode of That 70s Show too. I remember that.
Yep, I actually just came across that as Rocky Johnson.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he plays his dad.
And pretty much that's his first like thing outside of.
But Scorpion King, I think, was his first leading role.
Well,
yes,
it has to be.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, because I mean, The Rundown, and Walking Tall, all of that, Be Cool was all after that.
Yeah.
Tooth Fairy, wasn't he in the Tooth Fairy?
He was in the Tooth Fairy.
We don't talk about the Tooth Fairy.
Was that his first starring role? Though? Tell me it was.
No.
Probably his first bomb as a star.
Yeah, because we've got the Scorpion King, The Rundown, Walking Tall, Be Cool, Doom, Southland. Wow, Tooth Fairy must have been way after that. Tooth Fairy was in 2010, so he was already he already had a few under his belt by then. He was already in Get Smart, Race to Witch Mountain.
Yeah,
he'd already gotten some of that Disney money like years before that, that.
Reboot the Tooth Fairy, Rock.
Okay, let's go to the next topic.
Only if you get to bring back the Larry the Cable. No, I'm just kidding.
Team them up, baby.
All right, next thing here that we have Jake Gyllenhaal set to star in the next Michael Bay directed Ambulance. It's Michael Bay's Gyllenhaal. It's probably one of those things Gyllenhaal's like, I want to be in a great big movie where shit blows up. Get Michael Bay.
He's been in that movie. You know, like, I don't know. Okay.
Was that source code?
Oh, think of his movies here.
Jakey G for blowing shit up, man. What would be the biggest explosion Jakey G movie?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would. Well, his house gets blown up in Donnie Darko.
Yeah, I was gonna say Donnie Darko has a plane crash. I mean, that's
maybe it's something like there was a guy I went to high school with that said before I leave college, I wanna hook up with a sorority girl, a church girl, and a hippie. And maybe that's like what Gyllenhaal's doing. He's like, I want to make just like this stupid ass huge fucking phenomenal blockbuster movie, and then I'm gonna make something completely off the wall, so Spanish American something, I don't know.
It reminds me of Ewan McGregor when he did The Island for Michael Bay. Ewan McGregor really at that time really hadn't done any like big action movies and whatnot. He's like, well, if I want to be in a movie where stuff is gonna blow up, that's who's gonna make the movie. So for all we know, Michael Bay is one of those ones that's like, it may not be a great movie, but there's my bucket list as an actor.
Well, Gyllenhaal was just in Spider-Man. So, that was great. That was a great big action blockbuster.
That's probably his biggest traditional blow 'em up type of movie, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So maybe he's in the mood to do that again. Everybody knows
October Sky.
Yeah. Everybody knows how I feel about Michael Bay. I think he's a trash director, but this team up with Jake Gyllenhaal at least has piqued my curiosity, because I love Jake Gyllenhaal. And if he wants to do a fun from what it sounds like, it was either Michael Bay said this or Gyllenhaal, someone attached to the production of this movie said it's a throwback to 90s style action movies like Con Air and Speed. So
I would be okay with that.
If Bay is going back to that and maybe more subdued than what Bay has been doing the last decade, I'm like, maybe we have something here, but I'm very tentative. I like Gyllenhaal getting attached to, he can do whatever he wants right now. I mean, he's one of the best actors we have out there, so he can do whatever the hell he wants. So I'm tentative on this movie. Once I see a trailer, then maybe I'll decide if it's a watch or not.
So what you're hoping?
I was just gonna say, Michael Bay's got a lot. There's a few guilty pleasure movies. I love The Rock. You know that's an amazing movie with Connery and shit, and the Bad Boys movies and stuff. And I even liked that second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that came out. I thought that was kind of a fun movie. That Out of the Shadows.
Because
Brian, what were you going to say?
I was going to say is who doesn't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I know. So I was going to say what you're kind of hoping for is Jake Gyllenhaal doing and kind of alluded to this here is the like 90s Bad Boys kind of Michael Bay.
Yeah, like if he can kind of be the Keanu in Speed type of role, or Nicolas Cage in Con Air, like just a kind of an everyman trapped in a crazy situation.
It could be. Maybe we'll get Face Off 2 with Jake Gyllenhaal and somebody else.
Ryan Reynolds.
I would be completely okay with that.
If they announce tomorrow Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds are going to star in a Face Off reboot with Michael Bay directing, I'm there right away first weekend. I don't care.
Who plays Castor Troy though? Would it be Reynolds? I don't know.
Yeah, no. You start Gyllenhaal as the villain.
You start him as the villain?
Yes, Nicolas Cage, Castor Troy, and then you have
I can see that.
Yeah, why not? And then you have Cage and Travolta get a cameo in the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have to.
All right.
Everybody would go to the bathroom when John Travolta came on the screen. That's just kind of how it's like these days.
All right, Brian, what's the last piece of news that we got here? I'm excited about this one.
Sylvester Stallone joins James Gunn again for the Suicide Squad. And because, it doesn't already have a stacked cast the way it is in varying caliber of celebrity-isms to this cast, I'm hoping that it's kind of one of those little things like what he did for Guardians 2 is to kind of be just a little bit in there and maybe to allude to something going on further past this film and whatnot. Hopefully it doesn't make it too big. But, I mean, even the small little bit that Stallone had for Guardians 2, I really enjoyed. And I think it just seems that him and Gunn seem to work very well. And I'm looking forward to this. Yeah,
I mean, anyone who has ever listened to our show knows how much Sly is my boy. So him in anything, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'll take Stallone in a Face-Off sequel. But yeah, him teaming up with James Gunn again, yeah, sure, why not? Like Brian said, I think he'll probably be like some government agent or something, like some little connective tissue. He gives the Suicide Squad their mission or something like that.
Right.
I'm not expecting Stallone to come in as like a grizzled old Batman or something like that. I'd pay good money for that. Right? I would take Stallone as Batman in a heartbeat, but I think it'll just be a little bit role. So
maybe he turns out to be Amanda Waller's boss,
or he turns out to be just something crazy like Penguin. Sylvester Stallone is the Penguin. That'd be great.
He's James Gunn's replacement for the Joker. hey, I'm the Joker.
Oh, you're making my head hurt already.
You can't act like sound more like fucking Seth Rogen.
You want to see the magic trick?
Oh yeah. My God!
Tell me you would not. I would watch him as Batman and the Joker.
Just do the whole scene. Does he do it like a Two-Face style though, where he's just the one person dressed up half and half, or do we film two different segments?
No, you do two different ones, and even when we do our Face-Off sequel, he's playing both roles. It's just Stallone v. Stallone.
Boys, he's rails, boys.
Welcome to the show. This is how it usually goes.
Come on, yeah. You guys invited me on this show, and now you're scaring me after. Come on, man.
Man, you would watch that though, wouldn't you?
Take another drinking my cranberry juice.
That's all we got for news, though, boys. So
I would watch.
He would watch all of it, man. We were onto something here. All right, let's move on to coming soon. If what we just said about Stallone playing every role in a movie is crazy, wait till you guys listen to the synopsis for the first movie we have for coming soon. First up, we have a movie called Fatman. We're getting in the Christmas season. You can probably guess who this movie is about. It is about Santa Claus, but it is Mel Gibson as Santa Claus. He is a super grizzled. He's a drunk. He's living in Alaska, and he is being hunted down by an assassin who is trying to kill him for giving a 12-year-old child a lump of coal. And this is a hard R, bloody, violent movie, Fatman. This is actually a real movie. I'm not just pitching this on the show.
No, and I have seen the trailer, and I'm freaking in. This movie looks absolutely just as absurd as it sounds. It looks that much fun.
I would love it if at the end of the movie it was like there would be a twist ending and the assassin was Thurman Merman from the Bad Santa movies. That would make my day. That sure would.
That would be a straight up split glass unbreakable moment right there. Oh, what you don't know is this actually takes place in the Bad Santa universe.
Next film, we get Billy Bob versus Mel Gibson.
I would pay money for that too.
I would watch this. This looks super. Like I don't care anymore. Like this looks like a blast. I mean, I think this is the second Mel Gibson straight to VOD movie this year, which is fine. It's what it is. But Mel Gibson as Santa Claus, that's inspired, especially in an R-rated bloody action movie.
His Mel Gibson's thoughts probably is if Snake Plissken can be Santa Claus, so can I.
Never have I been as intrigued by a movie synopsis as I have since the movie Teeth, probably. So, big ups to Mel Gibson.
Yeah, well, hopefully Mel can stand up to Teeth then. This next one, this one's a fun one too. This one's Vanguard, which is hitting theaters. We do have another movie coming out to theaters. It is Jackie Chan's latest Chinese action movie. It's getting a nationwide release. He plays the head of Vanguard, which is a security company tasked with protecting an accountant from mercenaries. So this is directed by Stanley Tong, who previously directed Jackie Chan in Super Cop, Rumble in the Bronx. So this should be a fun, wild ride to see Jackie Chan back on the big screen.
Right. And I mean, the fact that we're talking like Super Cop, Rumble in the Bronx means that we're going to get good, hopefully, obviously he's aged very well at this point right now, but good classic Jackie Chan action.
Jackie,
not like him and Johnny Knoxville, that sort of thing.
Did anyone watch that movie? I don't even remember what that was called. I can remember the poster.
Action Point.
How many rush hours have there been? 4?
3.
3? We need a 4.
We do need a 4. I would do anything to have, because I'm sorry, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker were fantastic. Like, they had great chemistry. It was perfect. I would love to see a Rush Hour 4.
That'd be, first one in line.
What happened to Chris Tucker? I know he's in a little trouble now, but
or what did he do?
He might have been on Mr. Epstein's island at one point.
That's right. Yeah, I saw. Okay, yep.
Who knows if he'll appear in another movie anytime soon? I don't know.
But in terms of what at least I could say, if in the event that there's no weird things going on in the background, is that back after he did like all the Rush Hour movies and whatnot, he's like, I got paid. He took a vacation. He basically said, I'm semi-retiring from the business because he was like, I don't need to make movies to make movies. I'm rich. I can just do what I want, kind of thing. Because that's when he came back and had a small bit role in Silver Linings Playbook. He's like, at this point now, I'm just going to do what I want. So that for all we know, that's what it is. It's just like, he's like, I got my money. I don't need to work if I don't want to. Which, if that's the case, more power to them.
I got my money. I can go to any island I want. Yeah. No joke there. Let's move on. Next up is Leap of Faith, the William Friedkin documentary. It is William Friedkin giving basically it's just Friedkin sitting down for a feature-length discussion discussing The Exorcist. So this comes from the director of 7852, the Hitchcock shower scene, and Memory, the origins of Alien. So two highly regarded documentaries there. And from what I understand, this is just that. It's Friedkin sitting down for an hour and a half talking about The Exorcist.
And I'm surprised you hadn't figured out how you're going to get this thing early so you could watch it already.
I have not watched it yet. It is on the docket to watch. This is a Shudder, I believe it's the Shudder original movie, November 19th. This does come out on Shudder. So yeah, I'm stoked to check this one out. I mean, I love The Exorcist, and just to have an hour and a half of Friedkin talking about The Exorcist, that's cool with me.
You'd just be all over it. You'd be all over it.
And as Brian, who finally watched The Exorcist, this might be a good companion piece to your first time watch.
Maybe.
Yeah. Tony, what about you? I'm assuming you're an Exorcist fan. Is that a...
Okay, you guys are kind of cutting out on me just a little bit, so I'm trying to wait and see if my phone stops screwing around on me.
All right, we can.
Okay.
Can you? Okay. What do you think of this movie? Are you a fan of The Exorcist?
Yeah, it was. A lot of those movies, man, like The Exorcist and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Amityville and all that stuff. It all kind of just. I wish I would have been alive when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
I think that I've been so desensitized to things that shit doesn't shock me very much, but it's still like, I love practice. So
I can hear Kurt Russell revving up his car already. Let's do it. He's ready to go.
You heard that? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
Was that yours? Wow, that was loud.
Yeah, that was outside my window. I'm sorry.
It's Kurt Russell in the Death Proof car. He's coming to get you, Brian. All right, let's move on. Next up, I'm so excited for this one. This is the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special coming to Disney Plus November 17th. So we get the return of Life Day, guys. Life Day, our favorite holiday of the year. Rey and the rest of the Star Wars gang celebrate Life Day on Chewie's home planet of Kashyyyk. This is a new 45-minute holiday special. It takes place apparently after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, and see some of the cast from the original series returning, including Billy Dee Williams, Anthony Daniels, and Kelly Marie Tran back.
I enjoy the Lego games because I'm a stupid nerd that enjoys kids games. But outside of that, I think this looks absolutely enjoyable. I'll watch it. I could probably get my kids to sit down and watch it with me and whatnot. I think this just looks fun. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it.
I can dig it. I mean, I'm sure my kids really like Lego Marvel superheroes on the PlayStation. And so they like a lot of this stuff. They really didn't get into the Lego Batman movie very much. So I don't know. We'll see. They're not huge in Star Wars, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm stoked for this for two reasons. I think Lego and Star Wars used to do some like short movies a few years ago. I think it was before the Disney buyout, that were really fun and a lot of great in jokes with that. I mean, there's a huge Star Wars joke in the Lego movie. So Star Wars and Lego have, for me, always gone hand in hand, especially with Lego trying to put out animated content. But to see that Lego wanted to do a holiday special is awesome, because I love the holiday special. I think it's a total guilty pleasure of late 70s TV specials. And man, all I can hope for is Chewbacca's dad to show up and watch some more Wookiee porn in Lego version.
Yeah, something tells me that's not going to happen. I'm just giving that as a heads up now, that when you go to watch it at the end of the week, that's not going to happen.
I'm just saying, if Disney wants to keep canon with the holiday special, they have to put that and B. Arthur in this movie.
You know the B. Arthur passed away, right?
She can still appear. I mean,
So it appears as a hologram.
they had Carrie Fisher in the movie, so no reason we can't get someone else to voice B. Arthur's character. It'd be fun. I would be into it. But we got some more movies that are re-releases back into theaters. A couple of family movies this week, including The Santa Claus, starring everyone's favorite Tim Allen, back on the big screen, starting November 20th. The Santa Claus. What do you guys think? Fans of this movie?
Is this?
Yeah. So it's just a re-release for Christmas. So.
Yeah, because I was like, is this some sort of anniversary? But it's not, because it's 94. So I always, I never got around seeing the third one here, but I enjoyed the Santa Claus film just because it's a different spin on a Santa Claus type lore and whatnot. And, at the time, Tim Allen is, I still like Tim Allen. I think he's hilarious. So, he probably doesn't have to work because he got the Disney money too, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I don't know if I'd go see this in the theater. But I would definitely say that anybody who enjoys the movie that would go to it. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I like the Santa Claus. I think it's a very fun family Christmas movie. The sequels kind of go really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like the second one, I think, has a robot Tim Allen in it as Santa Claus, and the third one has Martin Short in it.
I want you guys to talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I gotta take my phone somewhere else because my connection's really dodgy. So I'm gonna turn my camera off for a second, but I'll be back. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We'll
keep on talking.
All right. Sounds good. So, as we wait for Tony to drop back in here, yeah. So you have not seen the third Santa Claus. The third one is wild. Martin Short is in that as
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
And that's just it's one of those ones where I don't know why I never did. Maybe it's just timing, age. I don't know, because I freaking love Martin Short. Martin Short is one of the best things to comedy in, for the sake of decades. Yeah, I don't know why I never got around. I guess I don't remember a robot Santa Claus that you're speaking of because I've seen the first two.
Yeah, it has to be in the second one. Let me look it up here. We got time.
We got you.
It took me forever as a kid to figure out that Santa Claus was spelled differently and that it's a pun.
Really?
Yeah, I always just thought Claus was spelled with an E.
What are we going to do with you?
I don't know. I got to find this robot and show you it. But yeah, I think the first one is a lot of fun. I haven't revisited the sequels in a while. The robot is terrifying. I have to share this. So give me 1 second. But yeah, so for viewers on YouTube, check this. It's terrifying.
Yeah. That's the robot?
That's the robot.
Now you got me curious.
Yeah, so he has to go back. Apparently, the plot of the second one, from what I remember, is he has to find a wife before Christmas Day, or as part of the clause. So he has the elves build a robot Santa to take over while he heads back to his hometown to find a wife. So then the robot becomes evil and becomes like a dictator of this. I gotta find this. There's another picture of him as a dictator too. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
Boy, it makes me wonder whether or not I saw that one now that you're making me look at this.
Brian's due for a Santa Claus double feature here.
I don't know.
A triple feature maybe.
So what else? What else we got going on?
This next one, I'm a little more curious. I possibly jump out and check this one out in the theaters here. This is Annie heading back for a re-release into theaters for 2 days, November 22nd and 23rd. So, right before we talk about Annie, let's throw Tony back in. Tony, can you hear us all right?
Yes,
he's here.
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. So we just started talking about this one. Annie is heading back to the theaters, 2 nights only. This is the, what year was this one? The 1982 one with Carol Burnett, Albert Finney, and Tim Curry in this one.
Because you think they'd actually, I'm sorry, they probably wouldn't re-release the new one in theaters because it didn't do as well. Like, this is the classic version of Annie.
There's been quite a few versions of Annie, though.
Okay. We don't talk about those versions because this is the only version that should exist.
Yeah, there are multiple versions. This is my favorite version, though.
Because you can't top Carol Burnett.
How does this only have a 39 score on Metacritic? I just looked that up.
Because not everybody likes musicals.
Yeah, they can stop. But yeah, anyway, Annie, this one I would be more inclined to check out in the theaters over the Santa Claus. This is a childhood favorite, and I revisited this movie a few years ago, and it still holds up.
This would be one of those ones that I would contemplate going to the theater to go see because it is one of those ones that it's an enjoyable film. It's one I've never had the opportunity to go see on the big screen. So that would definitely give me more reason to do it. And that's why I do really like these old classics or at least older movies coming back to the theater, just because, some people may not have had the opportunity. Some people may not were old enough or even alive when some of these movies came out. So like this one, I'd be all for going to go see this in the theater.
I'd take my kids. I'm not a huge musical fan unless it's like Tenacious D.
I was waiting for you to be like, unless it's like Pink Floyd's The Wall.
That was my second pick. But the D takes the cake. So.
Oh, the Tenacious of D.
Oh man, I love that movie. Anytime you can get frickin' Dave Grohl as the devil drummer, I'm in.
The greatest musical of all time.
It is fantastic. So, but yeah, that's it. That's what we got for coming soon this week. If you guys want to know about everything else coming out to VOD or to theaters or anything else in between, go check out our coming soon article on backlot605.com. So yeah, there was plenty of other stuff to go check out. So check out that article as soon as you can. But we're going to take a little 30-second break here. And then when we come back, we're hopping in our muscle cars to talk about Death Proof.
Hello, listeners. Are you craving even more movie content? Head on over to our horror theme show, Slashlat 605, which is hosted by Sam Lenz, Blake Ginnathan, and myself, Casey Calderman. That is where we break down our favorite films in the horror genre and everything else that is related to the genre that us horror nerds love so much. Podcast is available right now on Anchor.fm, Apple, Google, and YouTube. We will see you there.
All right, we are back talking Death Proof 2007, the second half of Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse, starring the man of the month, Mr. Kurt frickin' Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
so
the
first?
second? I thought this was the first, because in Planet Terror they say in memory of Jungle Julia or something like that. So I think Death Proof came first.
In the
Planet Terror.
In the timeline of the stories, yes, it does. But when you watch them in the double feature, this is the second feature, which is, I guess that is, for me, I would have swapped the two movies around, just based on
not necessarily, because I mean, if you really think about the way they did it and the incorporation of some of the characters and whatnot, they wouldn't necessarily be able to, because the twins are in both films. Like there are characters that go between both films.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean. I think the Death Proof story takes place before Planet Terror does.
Yeah.
So therefore, I would have played that. I would have done that one first, especially with how Planet Terror is, just the overall film of Planet Terror is more of a B movie to me than Death Proof is. So I would have made that the B feature with this being the A feature, but semantics, I guess.
Hey, you know what? This is all Tarantino's like doing. So he probably put it where he wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, should we get him on the line, see what he says about this movie? I mean, I'm sure he could talk about all the feet in it for a while.
I got him on speed dial.
Okay, so first of all, this is my first time watching both Grindhouse movies together. What about you guys? Did you guys watch them in theaters? Tony, you said you did not. Do you remember the first time you watched Death Proof and Planet Terror, though?
I'm pretty sure when they came out, we just went out and straight up bought them.
Mm-hmm.
And we just watched them both back to back. But yeah, I didn't get to go to the theater and see them.
I would tell you it was an experience, because I remember when those movies that you showed earlier came out, because I was severely disappointed because they didn't have the fake trailers in it and whatnot. And it definitely was one of those unique experiences, because one of the reasons why they did this is because these are things that, number one, grindhouses don't exist anymore. The atypical double feature doesn't exist anymore. So it was a good, fun experience to be able to see that in the theater. Like, if they were to ever to bring something back to the theater, as much as they keep doing all these throwbacks here, this would be one I would love for them to do, is to do the Grindhouse double feature. Maybe gets enough of a resurgence that they can finally get the sequel that they talked about years ago.
Or give us some of the trailers as the full feature movies.
Well, and I did find something out, is technically there are two movies that have come out of this, because obviously we know of Machete, got the two movies, and supposedly there's supposed to be a third one at some point here. But Hobo with a Shotgun, I didn't realize was a spin-off of Grindhouse, because in the Canadian run, Hobo with the Shotgun has a trailer that plays in the middle of the Grindhouse. So technically we have gotten two. You just want Thanksgiving by Eli Roth.
I want Thanksgiving, and I want all of them, actually. I think first of all, I think the trailers are the best part of this. I think they are the perfect encapsulation of what Tarantino and Rodriguez were going for with the entire Grindhouse experience. Mm-hmm. I think getting their friends like Rob Zombie and Eli Roth and Edgar Wright to do the trailers. Like, Edgar Wright does this weird British horror movie that's like this like mashup of Don't. With it's like a Fulci meets some of the Hammer horror kind of mixed together. I think I would love to watch Edgar Wright do that. But yes, Thanksgiving and the Werewolf Women of the SS. I'm like, yep, give me those. Yep. Werewolf Women is the best thing Rob Zombie's ever directed. So
that it was one of those things. I was looking it up, and the original plan was, hence the reason Machete was done by Rodriguez, is that they would do all of the trailers, they would do the films, everything like that. And I think it was Rob Zombie that caught wind of it first and says, I want to make one of these. And so that Rodriguez and Tarantino are like, hey, you know what? Let's get some guys together, because that way, if we don't have time to make the trailers, we already have them. So whether or not that's what happened and why we got the trailers that we did, but that was also part that was about the fun part of the experience, is the fact that these trailers to these films that never got made, or like, you want to sit there and go, God, I would totally go to the movie to see that. I would totally go see that. I still would do that. I would still see. Mm-hmm. Danny Trejo should have just made like Machete movies, like Liam Neeson makes Taken movies. Like, he's up to like Taken 47. So why can't Trejo make like 47, Machete movies?
I mean, if you count the Spy Kids movies where he's playing Machete,
that's true.
That might count. I mean,
you're not wrong.
And then you also the Mexico movie too, the Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I'm pretty sure he's Machete in those too, right? Like, am I wrong?
I think
I have no idea.
I think you're right. As we discuss, I will look him up.
Yeah, but yeah, I think as far as this whole experience of like having the Machete trailer first, and then Planet Terror, and then you have all the other trailers in between, and then you end with Death Proof, which is what we're going to be focusing on. I think the whole experience is a great little exercise in film by Tarantino and Rodriguez. I mean, if you look at it, no one else has ever tried to do this. No one will probably ever try to do this for a couple of decades at least, if they want to try to do that again. I mean, if during 2006, 2007, when they're making this movie, I mean, who are the other guys that are going to put out a movie like Grindhouse? It's these two guys. It's Tarantino and Rodriguez. I mean, that's the two guys. And yeah, I think the whole experience is incredible, and giving it the aesthetic look of 70s movies is, just a nice touch to it as well. But yeah, the movie we're going to focus on Death Proof. Planet Terror, I suppose we'll have to touch on in a different episode in the future. I suppose we'll have to do that one for sure. So the basic plot of Death Proof, it follows Kurt Russell, who plays Stuntman Mike, who is on a murderous rampage, who stalks different groups of women with his death-proof car, and begins to kill them off, kind of slasher style. He's kind of a slasher villain, but instead of a knife, he has a stunt car.
And it's fantastic. Real quick here, he does not play Machete in Once Upon a Time in Mexico. But he must be a really hard-working actor. He's got 406 credits to his actor IMDb page.
I think he's a lot like Nicolas Cage. You give him a ham sandwich and he'll show up.
So, yes.
Fu
Manchu. I want that part.
I do too.
Werewolf Women of the SS. I want that part. I want Nick Cage's Fu Manchu. Okay, we need to get back to Death Proof.
First, before we get, we have to touch on Fu Manchu at least for a little bit here. Come on. I've seen the trailers multiple times for this movie, especially the Werewolf Woman and Thanksgiving. Like, those are the two I want. And I'm like, for both directors, I'm like, that's the best thing you guys have ever done. Let's get the full feature-length versions of those. Because Eli Roth is just doing the movies he loved as a kid. And Zombie is doing the weird mashup of Nazis with monsters, and I love it. And throwing in Nicolas Cage's Fu Manchu. Like, makes no goddamn sense, and I love it.
I would also like to point out that Thanksgiving is what Tarantino and Rodriguez had to go to the movie board to keep them from getting an NC-17 rating, was because of the Thanksgiving trailer.
Of course, it's for Eli Roth's part. So, okay, that's where we got to start with Death Proof. Since we're talking Eli Roth, I don't like the directors showing up in these movies. They make me feel weird. Especially
why? Because we got Eli Roth and Tarantino both having little stints in this film.
Both of them, and they're both like more so. Eli Roth is fine in this. He's not really doing anything weird. He's kind of just being Eli Roth in it.
He's just being a setup character, basically.
Yeah, and he probably should have got killed off. I would have liked watching that. But Tarantino, especially he's in both movies. He's in Planet Terror and Death Proof. I just don't like him appearing, especially like as major characters in his movies.
Well, I wouldn't call Warren in Death Proof a major character.
I mean, he's in he's the
bar owner.
Yeah, but he's in quite a few big scenes. I mean, just get an actor, dude. Like, you're fine. And I think, the last time you and Rodriguez teamed up, it was probably the best performance you've ever done. But just get an actor.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Tarantino showing up in his movies?
I think it was that bad.
I don't think he's necessarily bad. I just find it weird that he's hanging out with younger women.
When oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
When I first saw Pulp Fiction, I did not know. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Tarantino playing, and I thought it was really, really cool that that he in that movie. So I like him. I like him coming in the movie.
Yeah, and then Yeah. So he's not terrible in this movie. But again, I think the standout again of this movie, and pretty much every movie we've talked about this entire month, is Kurt frickin' Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kurt Russell rules in this movie. He is fantastic in it. For a movie about Kurt Russell's character and about the movie's titled after his car, we needed some more Kurt Russell in this. That has been my gripe with the last two movies, with Sky High and Death Proof. Give me more Kurt Russell.
But it's not. I mean, yes, he plays the bad guy. He plays the catalyst to this whole thing. But the movie isn't about him. In fact,
here's.
If you ask me, this is literally his ability to give as much screen time to Zoe Bell as he possibly could.
Yeah, but she's only in half the movie. Make her the main character then. Maybe I should just get this out there. I did not like this movie at all. I think Kurt Russell's really good, and I think the car chase is really good. The movie completely loses me as soon as we cut to Zoe Bell and Rosario Dawson and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and their group. Because all of a sudden we're cutting halfway into this movie to a new group of people that I don't know who they are. Tarantino does his full dialogue stuff with them, which is, it's good dialogue. They have good banter with each other. I don't care about any of them is my problem. And I like that he is trying to go with stuntman versus stuntman. Then do that for your 2-hour movie. Don't give me that for the last 45 minutes to an hour. Do it the whole movie. That's been I'm not the big. I like Tarantino, but I am not in love with Tarantino. And he has so many gripes that get under my skin. And this is one of those where I think he gets a little too into his own head. And I mean, even with Tarantino-isms, there are so many foot shots in this movie. Stop it.
He likes his feet.
I understand. The opening shot is feet. Stop.
Well,
like there's a whole sequence where oh my gosh, what's the woman who's on the radio, Jungle Julia?
Yeah, Sidney Poitier's daughter, Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, there's a whole sequence in the movie where her feet are just hanging out of the car just so her feet can be in the movie. I'm like, stop.
And her leg on the side of the road.
Well, and her leg on the side. I like that. That's a good gore effect. But
and the one thing I do really appreciate about the fact that go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I was just gonna say, this is the first. I'm pretty sure this is the first villain that Kurt Russell has played since Overboard, and so I was really happy to see him come back to a villain role.
I guess I never pictured Overboard as a villain role.
He's not a good guy. I mean,
well, no, he's not. But
life?
neither person is a good person in that movie.
True that.
No, that was his first. That was his first villain. That was like total, what you call it, Stockholm syndrome and stuff. Like, dude, that guy was that was heinous. What that guy did to that woman, poor rich woman. So,
poor rich woman who was horribly mean to him.
Doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah.
Shit. Hashtag her too. But
I will give.
I thought Russell playing a villain was amazing.
Oh, definitely. He's great in this. In terms of that respect, the one thing I wanted to give props for about the Grindhouse in general, but also specifically for Tarantino, is we're talking about two different filmmakers who make films in two totally different ways. Robert Rodriguez is a very much a digital guy. He lives in a digital world when it comes to his films. And Tarantino is very much a film guy. And the fact that Death Proof is 100% practical. There was no CGI whatsoever for the making of Death Proof. So kind of putting those two together, I think, is also kind of a nice little nod to each other. But the fact that he was able to do everything that he did in this movie with zero special effects.
Yeah, I think the stunt work is incredible in this movie. I do, and I think the last final chase is tremendous. I think it is a very tense, very on the edge of your seat, and I love the fact that yes, Zoe Bell is clearly riding on the car for 20 minutes in this movie at least, where she's on top of the car, just dangling there. I think that's incredible stuff. And I think that is definitely what Tarantino is hitting on in this movie. This is something he wants to focus on, is the stunt people and the throwback to doing stunts in camera, doing everything in camera. And I think he definitely nails that part of this movie.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. But but again, I think Tony, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, audiences didn't get it. Like there's, a lot of different articles out there, talking about Tarantino, talking about how bad it bombed and everything. And audiences just didn't get it. But if you liked zombies and hot women and fast cars and, and special effects, but practical special effects, all that stuff, plus the fact that 2007 was really a big zombie year. Like that's kind of when the whole zombie thing kind of blew up, and then The Walking Dead and just all sorts of shit. And so it was just kind of, I really think it was great. And yes, it's not Quentin's best work, but it's still fun if you just shut your brain off and have fun with it,
Yeah, the one thing I do give him credit for is that he's worked with Zoe Bell numerous times before. I mean, probably most notably is being the stunt woman for Uma Thurman, and I like he's giving her shot in front of the camera in this movie. It's remarkable how much she looks like Uma Thurman, though, too.
Right.
It's crazy how much they look like each other. And again, I think she's pretty good in this movie. I think she has a good on-screen charisma, and definitely with her being a stunt woman, holding all of her own, doing all the stunts in this movie in camera is incredible stuff.
I know. I imagine driving down the road on, basically the only thing you have to keep yourself attached to that car, is a belt. Granted, there probably obviously is real life harnesses that are help keeping her, pegged on you, whatever. But still, I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't do that.
No, and I do love Kurt. Pretty much every scene with Kurt Russell I love in this movie. Him at the bar explaining like what a stuntman is and how he got his start is like incredible, and it's total Tarantino dialogue, especially when he's talking to the younger women at the bar, where they have no idea what he's talking about or what shows and movies he's like, do you guys even know what I'm talking about?
I love that. I love that. They're just looking at him with this blank stare, like I had no idea who you're even talking about.
And you gotta hand it to him. He does it, just like he does a damn good Elvis Presley in Forrest Gump. He did a damn good John Wayne in this one. You're okay in my book, or in my book, that's no good. Like I loved it. I love Russell. He's just awesome.
I do like that scene though, where he starts going off about the lap dance and whatnot, and his book and whatnot. Just that banter of dialogue is just great.
Well, and then you got the subtle Quentin stuff, like Red Apple cigarettes, and it's just I don't know. I love the world, because it just seems like every single Quentin movie, including this one, all takes place in the Quentin Tarantino universe. Yes. And it's just, I love that, where pretty much every movie he's made can be going on at the same time as other ones. It's just it's amazing to me.
I think they mentioned Big Kahuna Burger. Michael Parks is playing Earl McGraw, who he's played multiple times. I think there's tons of Tarantino nods in this movie, and I like his own Tarantino verse. It is fun to catch up and pick up all those little Easter eggs here and there. And I mean, then you combine that with the Easter eggs and characters that are in, oh my God, what the Rodriguez movie, Planet Terror. So I like all the Easter eggs between the two. And my question for both of you guys is, so when we start off this movie and Kurt Russell, he's personable at first, but when you find out he's just a mean, menacing bastard killing these young women, and then he gets to the end of the movie and he is scared shitless of these girls coming back after him. How do you guys feel about that character arc?
That he goes from being the mean guy to the scared little girl.
Yes.
I think he pulls it off beautifully, especially after he gets shot in the arm and he's crying and he's dumping the alcohol on it or whatnot. Even to the point with the final scene where he's screaming this high-pitched scream is, he goes in full on, suave Kurt Russell. I own this crap. I'm number one, but until he gets someone who can actually come to his level and beat him and whatnot, and he just breaks. It's the flip switch that he has with it is perfect.
Quentin's got a way of making people stretch, man, and that's what I love about Quentin. Is that he can take somebody like DiCaprio and make him a complete and total racist asshole. He can take anybody and just completely stretch them beyond their means. And I think that's why so many people want to do those roles, because they're just so unique, and yeah, they can flip just like that. So yeah, I loved it. Crying like a bitch.
If given the opportunity, if I got to be an extra in a Tarantino movie, I would say, "Yep, I'm taking vacation time from work to do that." I don't even care. I don't care if it's the worst movie he ever made. I would totally do that.
You guys aren't gonna like this take. I hated his character arc in this movie. I think it does not work at all. I think that Kurt Russell totally pulls it off. He is fantastic in this, and I mean, that's just because he's Kurt Russell. He's a fantastic actor, and him working with Tarantino is great in this movie. I think the two work together. The character for me just does not work. It comes completely out of left field, and all of a sudden, when he does get shot and getting chased, I'm like, what's happening? This isn't even the same guy anymore. Like, what's going on? And again, that's where I felt like I needed more Kurt Russell in this. Give me some more Kurt Russell. What is his backstory? What's he doing? What is his motivations? We get none of that, and then his character arc at the end of the movie just comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, I'm terrified of these women, and I have no balls. I'm just a fraud."
Well, that does speak volumes to certain people, whether you're talking in the industry or just people in general, to the point where they live this picture of who they are. But until you actually front them and actually stand face to face with them to realize who they truly are, is what I think is what this is trying to speak to, is that you can be whoever you want to be, but you better be able to back it up. Because if you can't back it up, and you aren't who you say you are, whatnot, you're going to break very easily. So that's what I get out of it.
Oh, it's sort of there, but it happens so fast that there's no time to process it or even understand where this comes from for me. Like, especially since I know nothing about Zoe Bell and her friends. Like, if I knew something about them and why they might be terrifying to Kurt Russell's stuntman Mike, then maybe I would buy it a little more. But I just unfortunately did not buy that turn from Russell's character.
Maybe you need to watch the extended version.
Maybe, but again, if you're going to put a movie out theatrically, it should have the whole story there.
Well, they also have to convince the theaters that they're going to spend one movie ticket on 3.5 hours,
which is fine. I mean, again, you need to cut certain. And I watched the theatrical cut. There's other stuff you could have cut out then to fit more room for maybe Russell's character arc and character transformation.
Yeah, maybe.
And again, the ending. Do you guys like the ending?
I think it fit exactly how Tarantino wanted it for the sake of paying homage to those 70s movies that they were kind of going for. That's how those movies ended. You didn't have a going off into the sunset. You just basically had end scene, freeze frame, go to credits. So he ended the film exactly like a film that was made 25 years, 30 years before that. That's how they ended. So that's how I expect that movie to end.
Yeah, Brian, you're not gonna like me for this either. Tony, go ahead. Be positive. Be the positive one.
I thought it was a really good ending. I thought that it was just like most Tarantino movies. It was just satisfying. It was just thirst quenching right then, and then you didn't need any more. It was perfect.
I needed one thing to make it work for me, and that was some Nicotero crazy special effects with Kurt Russell's face getting caved in. That's what I needed, and I would have been, yep, all right, I'm satisfied. Instead, it's this wide shot of Rosario Dawson stepping on his head. I'm like, give me the close-up of his face getting smashed in. Come on. You got Nicotero there. Let him do it.
You're not wrong. It's the fact that, you've got Greg Nicotero working with these guys on everything and whatnot. But those kind of things weren't the kind of, again, we're talking, between like the practical effects and everything like that. That's not what these kind of, the movie Tarantino made, that's not the kind of stuff you got in those movies in the 70s. You didn't have the close-up, bloody, cave-in, feet shots and whatnot. Tarantino or Greg Nicotero crushes it for the sake of Planet Terror.
Mm-hmm.
That is straight up Nicotero. But I mean, he was there for what he needed to be there for Death Proof, but for the most part, again, even practical effects aside and whatnot, there really isn't a need for that kind of special effect.
Here is my argument then. Halfway through the movie, we have the head-on collision with Kurt Russell and the first group of girls. And that is just a pure special effects where they literally replay the scene 4 times to show each girl's getting killed in graphic glory with Nicotero special effects. So, give us the alternate. Give us Kurt Russell's face getting caved in. Come on.
Okay, maybe.
And again, up till that point, I think this first 45 to an hour is incredible. Though this movie, I think Rose McGowan coming back in this one too. She's incredible in both of these movies. I think she's really good here, especially holding her own with Kurt Russell and all their scenes together. I would love to see her and Russell do some more stuff together. I think they're really good. And yeah, I think the first half of this movie is just an incredible movie. And again, I would just love some more of the comeuppance to Kurt Russell at the end of this movie. Give us the graphic glory of him getting killed, where he's the bad guy. We want to see him get killed.
Oh, poor Casey.
I know. Tarantino. Me and Tarantino have a love-hate relationship, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I know you love to hate him. But I was also going to say, you're like, I wish I had one more thing and whatnot before you said that you wanted that last shot. I was like, add about 20 years to your age so that you can understand what the 70s cinema really was.
I do understand 70s cinema. But that's my problem. He gave us that graphic glory halfway through it, and he doesn't give us it at the end. It just, I don't know. It felt a little graphics for graphics' sakes in the second, or in the first collision crash, which I'm all for. And Tarantino has given the long rants about graphic violence in his movies. Just give us the alternate at the end. But yeah, anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. What else do you guys like about Death Proof, or want to talk about with this movie?
Well, I mean, it's just for one, I know we touched on it and whatnot, but is the fact that is the chase for the second half of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tony was trying to say something.
I just said Wilhelm scream.
Tony, do you have any?
In the first collision.
There is.
I'm sorry. The connection's really terrible, guys.
No, that's all right. That's unfortunately part of. I can see why Tarantino doesn't like using technology.
Right? It's like, just give me my 35 millimeter film, man.
We should have shot this episode on 35.
Yeah, there you go. Just
All
splice it together.
All right, let's kind of wrap this up, giving our final thoughts. I'll throw it to Tony first. Tony, what's your final thoughts on Death Proof?
Well, like I said, I don't think that it's his best film, but I think it fits in very well with all of his pictures, and every single one of them surprises me. And second, third, or fourth time, and then I start catching little things, and I start, paying attention. I have 4 kids, so it's hard to pay attention to everything or have the brain capacity to sit there and get through a Tarantino movie sometimes. But he continues to make me think, and interesting, and not like anything else you ever watch. Every one of his movies is like, it's such a break from the Avengers movies, or the Oceans movies, or just all these big blockbusters. Tarantino gives us a blockbuster that's completely different all the time, and I love it.
Brian, I'm going to go first because I want to leave you with a positive note. I think as the whole, like I said, the whole experience of Grindhouse is a very fun, 3.5 hour experience. It's a fun time to watch. I liked Planet Terror more, which we'll talk about at some point in the future. But for me, just Death Proof, unfortunately, did not fully work. I think Russell is incredible in this movie. I think the stunts, especially in the second half of the movie, are great. But there's just certain things that were missing for me, and it falls into Tarantino trying to divert the story, which he does in multiple movies. Pretty much any Tarantino movie is diverting the story from one storyline to the next one. This one, just the transition did not work for me. It wasn't a very smooth transition from one group of girls to the next. So, but again, I think as the Grindhouse experience, yes, this is a must watch. You have to watch, and I think watching these two back to back with all the trailers, the whole experience, that's the way to watch it. Do a movie night. If they did a re-release, yeah, hell yeah, I'd be there. So, Brian,
for as much crap as you're giving Death Proof right now, you would go see this in the theater?
Just for Planet Terror and the trailers, yes. And then I would have to, unfortunately, sit through, and maybe I'd like it more the next time on the big screen with that full experience again. Who knows?
And who knows? Maybe that's part of it. I got to experience that on the big screen. I got to experience it as cinema should be experienced, as they tell you on the commercials and whatnot. So
as Tarantino would tell you.
Yeah. As someone myself, who really started kind of getting back into, when Tarantino and Rodriguez, Kevin Smith, all of them, they all came out of like the Cannes Film Festivals around the mid 90s. These are people that, for the sake of directors, that I've kind of basically grown up with. I am a big fan of Tarantino. I like the fact that Tarantino makes the movies that Tarantino wants to make. He's not making movies that, obviously he's got studio backed. Obviously he knows how to make a movie enough to get awards and nominations and stuff like that. But when you boil it down, Tarantino goes to make the movie that he wants to make. He doesn't care whether or not people are going to like it or hate it or whatever the case is. Tarantino is just being Tarantino. And this, you look at any of his films, basically every single film that he has pays some sort of homage to something else. It's just, he's a film nerd. He's a film geek. He said, you know what? I'm going to make my 70s exploitation film. Here's Death Proof. So if you take it in stride of him going, this is my version of this. I think it works for exactly what he was intending to make out of it. So I really enjoy it. exact like what you said for Grindhouse. I did just that. I pulled my copy of Grindhouse off the thing, and I literally just started it from the beginning. Started with Machete and worked my way through all of it because it is one of those movies because of how it was designed and everything was engineered as the whole. You need to watch it as the whole. So definitely, I would encourage anybody to go and enjoy the movie. Would I agree with Tony? Yes. Is it not his best work? No, of course not. There's definitely far better work that he's got. But, it's not probably the worst thing he's ever done. But, I mean, there is – I see the look on your face there, Casey. Knock it off.
I'm trying to think of where my Tarantinos rank now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. So
I've never seen Jackie Brown. That's the last one I would have to watch to get my full Tarantinos in there. So
and Jackie Brown is a great film. Pam Grier is great.
Yeah.
But again, and it's also that thing too, where it's like the Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Rosario Dawson, all of these people who are in this movie who've never been in a Tarantino before or after, be like, hey, I have this opportunity. I'm checking that one off the list. I guarantee that every actor probably has that list of people they want to work with, whether it be another actor, a producer, a director. And I would bet to say that Tarantino is on many of those lists. So
look at the star of the movie too, Kurt Russell. I mean, him to work with Tarantino at this point in his career, I think that was definitely one thing on his bucket list. I'm sure was to work with Quentin. Now he's done it multiple times. So I would like to see Tarantino's 10th movie, his last one that he keeps talking about. I would freaking love to see Kurt Russell show up. That one too. So.
I mean, even that is look at Michael Parks. Michael Parks before, he had a lustrous long career, but shows up in Tarantino, shows up in Rodriguez, shows up for Kevin freaking Smith, absolutely. So yeah, I would definitely. Hey, if you told me the next Tarantino movie had Russell,
awesome. Red
State and Tusk are so underappreciated.
Well, once upon a time,
we definitely agree on Red State and Tusk. Those are underrated Kevin Smith movies that I would love to talk about those some more. And I think with you guys, Red State might be one to go deep into with us three. I think that would be freaking fun.
Oh yeah, I'd be all down for that. That might be a Patreon episode, maybe sometime we have to do.
Maybe sometime, but let's jump a little bit out of the Death Proof. Go check it out. Go do the whole Grindhouse experience. Take half a day to do it. Why not? Snow's falling. You might have a few days where you're stuck inside because of the weather. Throw on Grindhouse. That'd be a fun time. But let's jump into the plugs here. First of all, let's plug where you can find this podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, and on YouTube. And with all those, please, if you can, give us a subscribe, a rating, a review if you can. That would be awesome. We would love that. And we would be eternally grateful, as the aliens from Toy Story would say. You can also check us out on backlot605.com. That's where you can find our latest movie news, reviews, articles, and discussions there. Backlot605.com. And if you would like, you can join our Patreon. This month, we have something very special we should announce. In part with Kurt Russell Month, we have been doing, one episode as part of the Patreon bonus episode. Guess what? We are doing 2 this month because we had a tie on our Patreon poll for which Russell movie we should cover. So we're going to be covering Overboard, which we briefly discussed here, maybe Kurt Russell's first time being a villain, and Kurt Russell teaming up with Robert Zemeckis for Used Cars. So we will be doing 2 different episodes for this month's Patreon bonus episodes.
This is some extra work that I'm not sad about doing.
Nothing wrong with more Russell.
No, I will take watching Overboard over and over and over again because I love that movie. I think him and Goldie Hawn are fantastic. But this will be the first time I'll have ever seen Used Cars. So this will be an entertaining thing. I like Zemeckis, so I like Russell, so it's got to be good, right? You're not going to throw me a Sleepaway Camp again here, are you?
Or a modern Zemeckis. But again, thank you. We do have to give that is our Patreon bonus episodes for the month. We have to give our big shout out to our patrons: Logan, Blake, Derek, Andy, and our two new patrons. We do have Lou and Corey joining the Patreon. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope you guys are ready for a double dose of Kurt Russell here at the end of the month. But
yeah,
Brian, where can they find us on social media?
Well, of course, on social media, where all the kids play, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all at Backlot 605. Also on Facebook here, you can check us out at the South Dakota Film Community Group. Join the conversation. What's going on? What are we talking about? Movie news, everything like that. We just like to throw stuff up there and see what people think and what's going on.
Absolutely. And Tony, where can the people find Tubes World, Silver Screen Showdown, and everything else that you do?
Well, right now, everything's just kind of encompassed into Tubes World on YouTube. But we do Tube Review on there, which is kind of our movie talk. We do the Dakota Podcasting Experience, which is we talk about local news and such. And then we also are doing Silver Screen Showdown. I'm actively writing. You have to write about 300 movie trivia questions and such, and make the shows and do the PowerPoints and everything like that. So I'm actively working on season 3 of Silver Screen. Check out Silver Screen Showdown. It's an online movie trivia game show, which is amazing, and we've already had 2 seasons, and it actually has its own site right now, Silver Screen Showdown on YouTube. And you can find, we have the first season was really awesome. It was just general movie knowledge. And then the second season, we actually did themed episodes where it was, all Back to the Future, all Batman, all that kind of stuff. And it was really, really fun. And we're going kind of back to the original this time. But yeah, Silver Screen Showdown season 3 is coming, but that will be on Tubes World. And then starting July 1st, I'm starting a new podcast here in South Dakota called Let's Smoke Weed About It. And that's where we just talk about whatever we want and smoke some crazy weed. So that's, if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. But, at least I'm not there like, let's get trash drunk on a podcast, No, there's a lot of really awesome people who want to be a part of it. And it's going to be a really fun time now that we will have legalized marijuana in the state.
Awesome. I am looking forward to everything you're doing, man. And ready for season 3 of Silver Screen. I mean, can't wait for it. Our former guest Brandon Lunsman kicked some ass on there a few times, so maybe if we get the chance, maybe we can knock Mr. Brandon Lunsman down with some new movie knowledge. I don't know.
I heard Back to the Future, and I was already sad that I wasn't a part of that.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you guys on. It'll be fun.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it. Anytime you want to do it, we'll try our hand at movie trivia. We'll try it. But again, Tony, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a blast. 2 other things I just want to throw out here at the end. Next week we are talking Big Trouble in Little China. This is the last movie in our Kurt Russell movie series, him teaming up with John Carpenter. This is the one everybody voted for, so Big Trouble is next week. And then also we do have this coming up this Friday, actually, so we are in the week of this. We are doing a special movie night watch-along for Plan 9 from Outer Space, one of the worst movies ever made. You just come join us and laugh at this terrible movie. That's all I'm asking for.
Terrible movie.
It's a terrible movie. But anyway, that has been the show. That has been episode 106 of the Backlot 605 podcast. Tony, thank you so much for joining us again. And Brian,
thank you for having me.
Absolutely, sir. And Brian, until next time, this has been Backlot 605 for Brian Mensing. I'm Casey Kelderman, and we'll check you out, guys, next time on the Backlot of South Dakota.
Bye-bye now.